Some speakers need no introduction. Apparently, our next speaker is not one of those. Some of you know him as Professor of Puns, as the Dusseldorf Institute of Analytical Humor. Some of you know him as an unlicensed doctor of allopathic comedy, who's traveling the world on a mission, a crusade, to dig mankind out of the MUD, modern unfunny disorder. Some of you are unwilling to even admit that you know him at all. But most of us adore him as this youthful genius who studied funniness at the knee of his circus clown granddad in the mountains of Bavaria. It was that same granddad who, seeing the child prodigy teaching satire to the local alpine bald eagles, gave him his name, a name that endures to this day. Please welcome Herr Rogaine.
Yo! Achtung! Mein Ernest Kindes, Frau Toastmeister und humored guests, and the rest of you, including those viewing at home, too lazy to get off your sofas, and come join us in our funny bunker here. My name is Herr Rogaine. And tonight, I am your humor Führer. As the commandant of this kindergarten comedy club, I will indoctrinate you in the rules of humor. Yeah, you will laugh. For as you will see, we have ways of making you laugh. These are the rules of humor. These rules are here for your own good. We know that you are afraid of making the joke. We know that many of you think that you have no sense of humor. Pity, you may be right. But when you use these rules of humor, these techniques of comedy, you will learn to fake it. Therefore, you will have enough of this fear of fun. And you will be making with the jokings and obey these rules of humor from now on. You understand this? Good. Before I show you these secret techniques, I will reveal to you their hidden swords. Gurgle, or as you Americanisch say, Google. Yeah, I can gurgle, you can Google, and when we all just look up these techniques on the internet, then the titillated targets of our captivating comedy will giggle from our Googles. And then we'll have them under our control, where they belong. You're ready to see these amusing methods by which you will impose your humorous will on this unsmiling world in which we live? Good. Here they are. You can see them clearly from the back. Good. See that you do. You think you know all about these techniques. with your puny puns, and your silly slapsticks, and your annoying alliterations. But do you really know about them? All of them? Can you use them to brighten the dull days of your bored co-workers? Or is your lame attempts at comic relief turned into a tragic comedy of errors? Here is one of these techniques, the unexpected collision of opposites. Some nincompoops have dared to suggest that a German teaching comedy is an example of these colliding opposites. I fail to see the humor in this. Here is another technique. This from the American comedy form, improv. This technique is called ja und. Or the Americans say, yes and. When someone shows you the conversational ball, you don't ignore it. And you don't drop it. You keep the ball going by saying, ja und. When I say, for example, you, joke now. You say, ja, und Herr Heim, mein Jokeführer. I'm not going to go over all these techniques tonight for you. You must go home and gurgle them for yourself. And when you do, you will find the definitions and the examples that they use to get you started. Yeah, even you can get started, I think. Very well. I will use one of these techniques in an example to show how even you can scientifically stimulate the funny muscle. For our example, we'll use the superstar of comedy techniques, the Prosdokian. You think I'm making this word up? Nein, mein skeptical Kindes. This superstar Prosdokian, this all-powerful comedy technique, is defined as the unexpected conclusion to a sentence or story. I will now model it for you by giving an unexpected conclusion to the following fairy tale. I was having a wonderful time at the Toastmasters Humorous Speech contest in Düsseldorf. When the somber sleepyheads in the audience couldn't be bothered to even snicker at my goofy guffaws. And I was forced to use my best comedy crap on them until they almost died laughing. You see, this conclusion is unexpected, and therefore it was funny. You understand this? With clever jokes like this, all of you could convince the other inmates in this asylum that we call Fairfield that you are stark, raving, humorous. You see, here's the Prosdokian rearing his sneaky head yet again. This brings us to the number one rule of humor. More than any of these techniques of comedy, your contribution of good humor to those around you will depend on your own fresh way of seeing the world. If you will use these techniques to cultivate it. In the words of the great German philosopher, Herr Forrest Gump, my mama always said, funny is as funny seas. Why are we still making war when we could be making jokes? When we could be laughing? If you will exercise this funny muscle, you can stop being this 90-pound weakling of icecracks and join the super race to a truly dominating arsenal of antics. Today, this pair of Prosdokian. Tomorrow, the var. One small quip from any of you. One giant belly laugh for all mankind. Laugh with me. Therefore, I am hereby proclaiming that each of you is cured of your fear of funny. And all of you will be making with the jokings from now on. You understand this? We are clear?
Yeah.
Good. I will take a few questions from the audience, if you can wake up enough to ask some.
Herr Rogaine,
Yes.
I loved your rules of humor, but I was kind of confused about one thing. You talked about the funny muscle.
Yeah.
Is there a
Funny
distinction between the funny muscle and the funny bone, or are they the same thing? Or can you please explain?
Yes, my dear Kinder. It is the funny muscle that makes us laugh out loud. Our research on gerbils shows that the funny bone only makes us chuckle. And then very quietly unto ourselves. Next question.
Herr Rogaine,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you have done some research on cures for the modern unfunny disorder that you're conducting at Dusseldorf Institute. Would you be willing to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I have the research report right here. At the Dusseldorf Institute, we have found that modern unfunny disorder, or MUD, can be cured in most environments. So we wanted to come to a place that would be a real test of unfunniness. So we came to Golden Speaker's Toastmasters. And our test of this last month has found that, yeah, one can increase their humor when one attends to these simple, natural techniques of comedy. And when one does improve one's humor, one's happiness is improving too. For example, we found that when using these techniques, the humor was increased by 4.8 units per person. Yeah, we can quantify these things. And with this 4.8 increase in humor, there was a 2.3 increase in the level of happiness in our subjects. We are very encouraged by this because these results were only a little worse than when we studied the lab rats. We think with these results that we can release the golden speakers to the general public, to the general population, without electric shock therapy. It's good. Next question. Yeah.
What is the role of humor in government?
Humor in government? Well, if you ask the great German humorist Mark Twain, he will tell you that's the only role of government, is to give us humor. However, if we're going to be practical about it, using these humor techniques, even an IRS agent could extract a sad smile along with his pound of flesh. Next question.
Toastmasters make their members endure harsh evaluations after their speech. Yet here you are making us test our level of humor. I resent these intrusions.
We must endure evaluations along our path to happiness. Evaluations are everywhere. Your good humor will be evaluated even at the very end. Yeah, when you get to those pearly gates, do you think St. Peter is going to let you in if you don't say, knock, knock? Oh, who's there? Oh, it's just me, a little Toastmaster. No, I don't have any joke to tell you to cheer you up, but I'd still like to get in if I can. Don't put yourself in that situation. Do we have any other questions still? Yeah, in the back.
I've been a part of the Meditating Fairfield community for a long time, and I think I've really released all my stresses in my funny bone. So what can the Institute do for me?
What can the Dusseldorf Institute do for you? Mein dear smiling ones, ask not what the Dusseldorf Institute can do for you. Ask what jokings you can do for the less humored ones around you. Next question. Ah, the braided Bavarian one in the back. Thank you. Yeah. This is good.
Herr Rogaine, was ist das Schlingenhafen mit mein Husband, Herr Hipp? Die Bratwurst Dummkopf.
Ja, this husband, Herr Hipp, ist der Dummkopf und Bratwurst und Lederhosen Dachsenitwald und Wasser verboten Volkswagen. And don't bring up this man again. We have time for one more question. Yes?
When I see all the horrible things going on around in the world, I don't think I'll ever be able to get out of this mud.
Mein dear Kinder, when you frown, the whole world frowns with you. They sink into your mud with you. But when you laugh, the whole world smiles with you. You must just start with little steps. A giggle here. Reading a limerick here. And before you know it, global warming has been transformed into global charming. But it is your responsibility to cause this change one little giggle at a time. You understand this? Good. And if you don't, I'll be back. Ah, my Bavarian Liebchen. I think you could benefit from some training in my secret techniques. You will come with me.